What's up everyone, my name is Marvin and today I am doing a review of this Ibanez Iceman ICTB721. So I actually did a review of this guitar about 3 years ago and I kind of messed up. The guitar wasn't in tune. I got plenty of hate comments for it. I'm sorry. I'm redoing the review like I said, albeit 3 years later, but at least I'm doing it. And honestly, I kind of forgot to do it. Like I didn't really forget, but it's been in the back of my mind and life does what it does best and just kept getting in the way of me actually doing it. It didn't really take that much importance since I already did a review, so sorry. But recently I decided to sell this guitar and as such I figured I should do the review before I actually get rid of it. So here we are today. So basically this is a modern version of the Ibanez IC507 that they had back in, I think it was 2013 or 2012. So I actually used to have one. And although I love the way it sounded, I did not really gel with the way it played. The neck was way thicker than I was used to. I don't even know the profile. I think it was just an Iceman profile, but definitely not my cup of tea, you know? And the body design of the old one was very blocky, if that makes sense. There weren't really any curves or anything to kind of aid in comfort. And once again, even though I love the way it sounded, it just wasn't that comfortable for me to play, especially standing up. It also had really bad neck dive. You can't really get around it. I mean, you can if you want to add like weight into the body itself, but who wants to do that? So I purchased this one as a replacement. Obviously, you know, I got rid of the other one years ago, but this was the replacement that I was waiting for. Something modern, 7-string, Iceman shaped, and I have to say my relationship with this guitar has been kind of rocky. Not rocky in terms of what Ibanez is giving you, but rocky in terms of what I wanted to get out of this guitar, for me personally. So there's nothing wrong with the guitar, there's just things that I didn't gel with. Before I get into that, I'll just go through the specs really quick. This guitar is an Iron Label series guitar, so generally made for metal, simple, and if you've seen any other Iron Label Ibanez guitars, you'll feel right at home with what this guitar has to offer. It has an Okume body with a maple and walnut neck-through construction. If you get the guitar in the right light, you can actually see the lines. I don't know, you can kind of see it in the video right there. You see these lines there? That's the maple and walnut. It's actually pretty cool. You can definitely see it in sunlight. On here we've got go-to locking tuners, and we've also got luminescent side dots on the side. This is a 25.5-inch scale, so standard 7-string scale, 1 volume, 1 tone, 3-way switch, features DiMarzio D Activator 7 pickups, and Ibanez has also put their monorail bridge here. The fretboard is an ebony fretboard with 24 jumbo frets, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, very simple, just made for you to plug and play. One thing I really do like about these Iron Labels is that it does have the Ibanez logo here, but it's blacked out and it's very hard to see. But it's really cool when you see it. Let me see if I can get this in the camera. You see it? It's like black. It's like black on black. So I'll go through the things that I love about the guitar first. I'm a very big fan of matte finishes, and this finish is done beautifully. It looks really nice. It's stealthy. I do love the sound, but I didn't love the sound at first. I had to really play around with the DiMarzio D activators. You know, just kind of adjust myself and my settings to it. But they actually sound really big, beefy, they're heavy. And I know in my first video I was talking about how much I loved them. But when I started really recording with this guitar and playing around in different amps and different settings and stuff, like in different scenarios, it just wasn't 100% what I was wanting until I figured out how to use them. Most of that got fixed by just changing the pickup height a little bit, so I'll just point that out. I do like the weight. This guitar isn't the lightest guitar. I don't remember how many pounds it's, I think it's just like 7.5. It's definitely under 8. I don't remember the exact weight, but I remember the old Iceman, the IC507, I remember that one being annoyingly heavy. I don't necessarily need my guitars to be super light, but a heavy guitar is really annoying, especially when you're standing and playing. More on standing with the guitar later. The neck feels nice, it plays very fast, it plays very well. It honestly plays just like any Ibanez you've ever played. It doesn't have the forearm bevel here. There's a slight forearm bevel here, but you wouldn't feel right at home compared to like an RG, because the RG's bevel is way more beveled. So if that makes sense. It's a well-playing guitar, it sounds great, it looks great. It stays in tune, which is very important. Since I've had it for 3 years, I can actually tell you how it's been with weather and everything. The neck is pretty stable. I've not had to do a lot of adjustments as the seasons change, and where I live in New York, the seasons drastically affect my guitars. So now onto the things that I'm not in favor of with this guitar. Number one, the neck dive. The neck dive is really annoying, and there isn't much that you can really do about it. So if you look on the back of the guitar, this is where the strap pin is placed, and then the other one is right under this horn right here. And when you stand with it, it just pulls down. I mean, that's what neck dive is. It's not as bad as the old IC507. That one had atrocious neck dive. This one, that's still bad. You know what? Hold on, I'm gonna show you. Okay, I just put a strap on. Stop it, no dirty jokes. Standing up. You can see it, it literally just drops. And I'm not using anything special, I'm using just a regular Dunlop strap, and it just, you know, dives. So the problem with that is that you have to constantly keep your hand up here if you want to play, like kind of put pressure up on the neck, which when you're playing, you obviously don't, sorry, my face is cut out. When you're playing, you don't want to sit there holding up the guitar while you're playing. You can kind of push down here with your forearm, but you can still feel it dragging on your shoulder, and that's something that I don't like. So that's where that gets annoying. There is another thing that I actually don't like about playing my Iceman compared to my other guitars. It seems where my arm sits naturally that the guitar is sitting more out this way than this way. So for example, with my other guitars, when I stand with them, they feel like they stay centered pretty much right around here, like where I'm picking, where the pickups are. But the Iceman just feels like it naturally just gravitates more towards this way. Like let's say I'm sitting, so you see how it stays here when I'm sitting. If I stand in the same position, if I let go, it keeps going back to like the center of my body. When I'm playing, I like to have it more towards this side, which is actually where most of my guitars stay. Most of them stay over there. This is the only one that kind of gravitates a little more forward. I have to adjust my playing when I'm playing standing up, which it's not that big of a deal because I play standing up at home. I don't play live or anything, but this is something you need to note if you want to use this for live performances, because it has a very nice stage presence, but you don't want to play live with a guitar that's fighting you. So you have the neck dive, you have the shifting of its position while you're playing. It's a little annoying. Now, I don't want to sound too nitpicky because I'm sure there's some aftermarket third-party solution to neck dive and everything I just mentioned, but straight out of the box, for me, it's pretty annoying. Another thing that annoys me about this guitar is the level of modifications that you can make to this guitar. So for example, let's say you wanted to swap the pickups, right? Maybe the DiMarzios aren't your thing. So these DiMarzios, if you can see here, the corners where the pickup tabs are triangular. So you need to either only choose DiMarzios, because they're, as far as I know, the only ones that have a triangular shape. I know the Fishman Classics have that as well, the open core Classics or something like that, but there's a couple Fishmans that have that triangular shape too. More on that later too. Hey, it's Future Marvin just chiming in really quick. I just want to say that there are manufacturers that make pickup tabs that are triangular like DiMarzio. Fishman, for example, has the open core Classics and the open core Moderns that do make the triangular route. The Moderns are the ones that I tried to modify. The ones that I tried to put into my guitar in the video. Bare knuckle also, you can order custom base plates to make them triangular, and I'm pretty sure there's other manufacturers or other ways that you can make that happen as well. And obviously you could just grind down the side and make it a triangle, but who really wants to do that? Whatever. Done chiming in. Now back to the video. You either need a pickup with a triangular shape, or you can buy a pickup and cut it so that it fits. I'm not really someone that's a big fan of doing that. I would rather something just be, you know, plug and play, drop in. If you have to modify the item that you're putting into the guitar, I mean, I guess I can't say that that's really a bad thing. I think it's just a little more annoying because now it's just more that this guitar is keeping me. It's, how can I say this? Basically, it's another thing to add onto the list from the guitar, where it's keeping me from enjoying it to its fullest potential in my mind. I hope that makes sense. Basically, if I want to get this guitar where I want it to be, it's another barrier of entry for me, where maybe I want to use a bare knuckle and it doesn't fit, or, you know, any other pickup. But you get what I'm trying to say. This actually segues into another point that I have where I mentioned the Fishmans. So I actually bought some Fishman Moderns that were going to go in this guitar. The Fishman Moderns fit, but the battery did not. You can see this cavity back here is very small. It only fits a handful of components, and I mean that. You can only really fit the volume and the tone in here. And these I actually modified. These are push-pulls, so I have a coil split on this one, and this is a tone defeat on this one. But that's basically as much as I could really fit in there. And trust me, I tried to fit a battery in there, even with one potentiometer, and it could not fit. It was barely fitting. I had to sell those pickups because I bought them thinking that I could get a battery in there. Not exactly a negative on the guitar itself, but if you are planning to buy this and mod it, keep that in mind if you want to go to active pickups, and also keep it in mind for passive pickups that they may not fit and you may have to alter the pickup tabs to get them to fit the triangular route. There's one minor thing I'll also mention. The way that they wired this switch to the pickups was absolutely convoluted. I don't know why Ibanez decided to do this, but for some reason, these pickups were wired directly to the switch, and then the switch wires went behind the pickups down here. So this cavity only had wires basically going straight to the jack and one going to the switch. Just like 3 wires. But I don't know if you know anything about pickup wires. They're made of more than just one wire. There's like 5 wires coming out of this one, 5 coming out of this one, and they're both sharing the same little hole that Ibanez put in here, and it's like smushed and scrunched up in here. It just literally made no sense at all, especially when it comes to the neck pickup, because the neck pickup lead is longer, so it was coiled up inside here, and it just didn't really make any sense. So I took the wires and put them down here where they had a little more space, and I simply just connected their outputs to 2 simple wires and wired it up here. It fit perfectly. The pickups were able to fit better because they didn't have wires coiled under them. I don't know if Ibanez meant to do it like that, or maybe it was a worker, I don't know. But that was definitely a gripe for me because it made wiring this thing 10 times more annoying than it needed to be. So now you have an idea of what I'm working with in terms of positives, negatives. I'm going to give you some actual demonstrations of what this guitar sounds like. And like I said, I love the sound of this guitar. It sounds great. It's not like it sounds bad. It doesn't play bad. It's a good guitar. But there's just certain things about it that I don't like. And I ended up not playing it as much as I thought I would, which is the reason why I'm selling it. I'm going through my Mesa Rectoverb 25 watt. I'm just going to do a bunch of sounds so you can see what this sounds like. And yeah, just take a listen for yourself. I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, this guitar sounds great. I honestly think that adding the coil tap here really opened up the capabilities of this guitar to give me more sonic sounds. I've always liked DiMarzio deactivators. I've had them in guitars before. They sound big, chunky, and nice output. Coil splitting the DiMarzio deactivators, they sound really good. They go with this guitar, and I just really like the sound. So yeah, I mean, that's it. Those are my pros and cons, my loves and gripes with this Ibanez ICTB721. And I'm not gonna lie, as I started playing and making this video, as I was warming up, I actually kind of don't want to sell this guitar. But I just bought 2 other 7-string guitars, so I don't need this guitar, if that makes sense. I'm not a big fan of having too many things, especially when they're just sitting around and I'm not using them. I'd rather somebody else buy the guitar and use it to its fullest potential and, like, you know, get more enjoyment out of it. Whereas for me, I'm just looking at it in my room like, yeah, that's pretty, but I never use it. Kind of sad to let this thing go, but if I ever want one again, I can always buy another one. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, please leave a like. Subscribe for more content. You take care, stay safe, have a great day.